Welcome to my new channel. This channel will be pretty much fully dedicated to Doctor Who reviews, rankings, cosplays, etc. I'm just going to do a bunch of things on this channel, but it's mainly dedicated to Doctor Who. The link to my old channel will be in the description. It's a gaming channel. I haven't used it in a while. I don't plan on doing so anytime soon. But yeah, I sounded very different back then. I was a very different person back then. But you know what? Ignore that. Let's just get straight onto the video. In this video I'm going to be ranking all of the current 14 Doctors as of 2021. I have some very controversial opinions, okay? And remember, this is all my opinions. If you don't disagree with me, that's fine, alright? I don't mind, I don't blame you. We all have our opinions, in the end we're all human. What the hell is that doing? So, anyway, I guess we should just get right into it. Keep in mind, I love all the Doctors. There is not a single Doctor that I dislike or hate. They are all great. I love them all. It's just I prefer some more than others. And we're also excluding Big Finish, except for maybe one, because it's kind of hard not to exclude Big Finish. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Last place, we have the War Doctor, played by the legendary British actor John Hurt. I love John Hurt. He is just one of the greatest actors to ever live, and I'm sure most of you will agree with me on that. But in Doctor Who, there isn't really anything bad about this Doctor. I just don't really think he represents his purpose well, because he's meant to be this gruffy, old, war-torn warrior Doctor, but he doesn't really represent that. He just seems like a normal Doctor, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just in the context of the story that he's in, supposed to be the Time War, you know, he's just about to murder everyone in Gallifrey. It just doesn't seem like he's the type of guy who would just slaughter an entire planet. I don't know, it's just me, but yeah. I think he was very underused and could have been used a lot better, but alas, here we are in last place. Now, in 13th place, this is gonna be where most people just click off this video. And I am definitely going to piss a lot of people off about this, but hear me out. Number 13, we have Peter Davison, the 5th Doctor. Oh, yeah. So, now I don't hate this guy by any means. I think he's a great Doctor. I think he's a great actor. He does a really good job. He's very heroic. I like that. But I just don't like the fact how he's so human. You know, I like my Doctors to be a bit alien, as you'll probably see by my later rankings, but I just think he's a bit too human for my liking, which sometimes isn't a bad thing, but most of the time it's a pretty bad thing. And he doesn't really convince me as the Doctor. Like, he doesn't really feel like, he doesn't make me feel as the Doctor. Caves of Androzani is where his highest point is at, and I love his heroicness, and it's probably one of my favorite stories of all time. But I'm sorry, Peter Davison, you're going here. Now, in 12th place, I don't think a lot of people disagree with me putting her down this low. Well, I just kind of gave it away with her. But we have Jodie Whittaker, the 12th Doctor. Now, bear in mind, I still have yet to see Series 12 of New Who, because I haven't really gotten around to it, and I, quite frankly, haven't been bothered. But, so I'm plainly going off Series 11. Jodie Whittaker, while being a brilliant actor, she is amazing as an actor. As the Doctor, not so much. I feel like it isn't her fault, but the fact that her character is so messy and her personality is just so everywhere, like it's all over the place, and it's mainly due to Shindball's writing. But yeah, I don't know, there's not much that I can really say about her. That's pretty much all I have for Jodie Whittaker. So, I'm sorry if you were wanting to hear more. I just don't really have much to say, other than she doesn't really connect with me all that well. But anyway, you know what, let's just move along, because I don't want to start any arguments or any wars, because I know there are a lot of people that do like her. But anyway, keep in mind, okay, so from now on, in terms of rankings, they are very close. Like, the next like whole bunch of Doctors, except for maybe the top three, they're all very, like, close together. Like, absolutely adore every one of these Doctors for their own personal reasons. So don't think just because I have a certain Doctor at 11 doesn't mean I hate them or I dislike them, because 11 is, to me, is just as close as like number 4 is. Like, they're very close together. So keep that in mind when I tell you guys my 11th place Doctor, Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor. Okay, before you click off, I love this guy. From the space hobo-ish attitude and his joyful personality, I love this dude. In fact, I have a mug of him right here, okay? I love this mug. It's creepy it's very creepy. But I love it. And I love his Doctor. But the reason I have him here instead of, like, downloads is I don't have much of a personal connection to him as much as I do. This list is very biased, if you can tell. It's not like I'm just getting a whole general opinion or who I think the overall best Doctor is based on, like, you know, other people's opinions, but this is basically on my opinion and my personal connections to these Doctors, and I don't have much of a personal connection to Patrick Troughton as I do some of the other ones down lower on this list, but I love this guy, and he deserves all the respect in the world for being the second ever Doctor, and at that point we didn't even know what a regeneration was. This guy, he's turning from this old man to this youngish man. It's just crazy. I'm rambling. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Next pick. And now this is going to be another very, very controversial pick. In 10th place, we have Jon Pertwee, the third Doctor. I love this. This guy is just great. He's the James Bond Doctor. He's the action hero. We all love him. He's just fun. He's just everything you'd possibly want from a Doctor. It's just, he has the same problem as Patrick Troughton for me. I just don't have much of a personal connection with him, and I haven't seen as much of his era as I wish I would. I would really love to see his son, Sean Pertwee, to play this Doctor for, like, a cameo, hopefully in the 60th, or even at any point during Series 11. I would love that. Series 11, that's already happened. Series, what are we up to? 13, that's it. But, yeah, so here's Jon Pertwee. I love his costume, though. Only he could pull off that costume. Anyway, 9th place. This is where stuff's going to get a bit controversial. But in 9th place, we're back to the New Who Doctors. And I'm going to have to go for the 9th Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. What can I say? He's the PTSD war-torn Doctor. He's just killed an entire planet. Like, I would be pretty PTSD too. Sorry, I'm a bit camera shy. He was my first Doctor. He was the first Doctor that I ever saw on screen, and he immediately captivated me from the start. I immediately fell in love with this guy. From his first line, "Run," just to his final line, "You were absolutely fantastic," and guess what? So was I. It's just, I think that was the line anyway. He's just awesome. And he also has one of my favourite lines in all of Doctor Who, which was the, "I watched it happen, I made it happen." Yeah, that's what I think of the 9th Doctor, and I'm really, really disappointed we didn't get to see more of him, because I would have loved that, and it's just a shame. Anyway, and for 8th place, we're going to go with Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor. He was the last classic Doctor, I'd say. I mean, some people say Paul McGann is, but I'd say classic is from 1st Doctor to 7th Doctor, in my opinion. And now, okay, so when there is kind of two versions to this Doctor. You have the season 24 Doctor and this season 25 and 26 Doctor, and they're both two completely different characters. One hand, the one's really quirky, the other one's very mischievous. Now, for which one I prefer the latter, the kind of manipulative, mischievous Doctor. I just really love how dark and mysterious he is, and how unexpected he can be at times. And I really love his relationship with Ace. I was going to kind of try to keep out what I think about their relationships with the companions, because I might be doing another video on that at some point soon, or my top favorite companions, or something like along those lines. But I think him and Ace just bounce off each other really well, and I absolutely love it. There's not really much else I can say about this guy. He's just awesome, and from the box set trailers that we got, he could still rock that role. He could just get back in there and absolutely slay it. But for now, Sylvester McCoy is my 8th pick. Now for 7th place, it's going to be a controversial one, because this is usually people's number 1 Doctor. And for most of my life, he was my Doctor. And he was the person that it used to think whenever someone said Doctor Who, this guy used to come to my head first. But, alas, for 7th place, we have David Tennant, the 10th Doctor. Oh boy, am I gonna get some shit for this. I love this guy's personality, look, and overall vibe. He always brings a smile to my face whenever I see him on screen. He just sort of has that presence, which always just makes me happy whenever I see him. And with Tennant himself being a brilliant actor, he just elevates the role to me. There are just some things that kind of bring it down for me, like his last 2 episodes, I'm not a big fan of them, and it kind of just brings down his character a bit for me. I'll explain that in a different video. But for now, my 7th place pick is David Tennant, the 7th Doctor. The 7th Doctor. Fuck, I'm so stupid. The 10th Doctor. And now, in 6th place, we have the one after David Tennant, Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. I love this guy. He is so charming, and he's very, very fun. And I relate to this guy a lot. I can be very energetic and over the top a lot of the times. I've always been that guy. I've always been very... But I love this guy. He's just... I've said that a lot in this video. I love this guy. So whenever I can't think of anything else to say, I just say I love this guy. Anyway. I just love how he has a darker side and can do the most unexpected things at any point. And again, trying to refrain from the whole companionship thing. But Rory and Amy, they just bounce off each other. They bounce, and when I mean bounce, they bounce. What am I doing with my hands? I think season 5 is where he's at his peak, and it's probably one of my favorite seasons. My favorite season of New Who. And he just elevates every scene that he's in for me, and he's just brilliant. But alas, we are into the top 5. This next one's going to be a bit of a short one, because it's just sort of short, sweet, and simple. There's not much to say about it. But in 5th place, we have William Hartnell, the 1st Doctor. Now, I see this guy at a lot of, bottom, or near the bottom of the list, not as much as I see my, 4th place, I think it is. Yeah, 4th place. Not as much as I see my 4th place at the bottom, but this guy is going to be very controversial for my ranking instead of the next one, but you'll get to that in a second. So 5th place, we have William Hartnell, the 1st Doctor. Now, I see a lot of complaints about this guy. Often the common response to him is that he's way too old, he's way too grumpy, he's way too grouchy, and honestly, I don't mind that. I kind of dig it in a way, because for the longest time, he wasn't even the main character of the show. He was just sort of the guy, the old mentor professor guy, and that would be a really good suit. His personality is really good suiting for that role. But I do think his character grows a lot through the series. He becomes a lot less grouchy and angry, and he becomes somewhat of a pretty sweet old man, somewhat. But I think the quote that really gets me is the whole "there should be no anxieties" things when he's saying his final. What the fuck? When he's saying his final goodbyes to Susan. That honestly, it always brings a tear to my eye. It's just beautiful, and I love this guy. I said it again, didn't I? Now, On to my fourth place. This is going to be very, very controversial because this is usually the last place in a lot of people's lists. Probably thought I forgot about him and just kind of left him out. But nope, in my fourth place, this is going to turn a lot of heads, but we have Colin Baker, the Sixth Doctor. Yep, I'm not even including Big Finish on this too. I love this guy's run in the show. I do have my reasonings for liking him though, and one of them is I love it when the Doctor gets dark, and for the most part, his entire era was pretty full on. It was pretty dark. And even the character himself was pretty dark at times. Now, kind of just minus the whole twin dilemma thing, we're just going to put that away with the whole Perry incident. You know what I'm talking about. We won't talk about that, but I often find Colin, especially later, like as he develops later on, to become really charming, and I like how sometimes it can be a bit of an arse, which I like it how it's such a contrast because, like, from what became before, because the Fifth Doctor was generally really, like, you know, calm and collected, while the Sixth Doctor can be pretty stern sometimes. So I think stern's the word, I don't know, but I like how it's just such a big contrast, and I love it. Colin Baker is just I was gonna say the thing again, but no. Okay, now we're in the big top three. My top three definitive Doctors, and third one might surprise you, the last two probably not. But without further ado, let's get into it. My top three Doctors. Number three place. In third place, we have Paul McGann, the Eighth Doctor. Oh boy. Now, just as a few days ago, I had not seen the TV movie, and my only experience with Paul McGann was Night of the Doctor, where that 7 minutes immediately sold me on this guy. I loved it. The what if I get bored? It was the pinnacle of the Doctor Who for me. I just thought that was great. That was a joke, by the way. It wasn't the pinnacle of Doctor Who for me. You get my point. I know I'm not supposed to include Big Finish with this, but I guess with this guy, I kinda have to, because he only got a movie and a 7-minute short, which is kind of unfair considering most other Doctors got full series and stuff. So, series and stuff. So, I'm going to include Big Finish just this once. There's one exception. So, I think this guy is charming, sweet, funny, charismatic, romantic, and pretty attractive. But I can't put into words how much I love to see this guy on screen, and how much I would love to see a new series with him, like a spin-off series, like what Torchwood was or something like that, just all about Paul McGann. I don't even mind if he doesn't have a companion. I would just love to see, I take that back. I would just love to see this guy on screen. But anyway, on to my top two, and now by me just saying this one, you're probably going to guess who number one is, so it's kind of a bit of I'm losing my words, bit of a big spoiler. But for number two, the runner-up for my top 14 Doctors, we have Peter Capaldi, the 12th Doctor. This man is everything to me what the Doctor needs to be, all in one. He's probably the best part of every Doctor, just smack together. He's smart, but he's not, like, stern, you know? And he's fun, but he's not over the top, like what Matt Smith kind of turned into over the course of his tenure. But whenever Capaldi talks to himself, and like kind of gives us a mini bit of a monologue, it just gives me chills every time. Like, it's just beautiful. It's fantastic. And I think he just perfectly exemplifies how a New Who Doctor should be done. And I know the writing and scripture for his era wasn't the best. It kind of had its ups and downs, there was some pretty questionable choices made. But I think through all of that messy writing, confusing writing, and Clara, I think he really just makes the show. I think he himself just carries it from his being a low tier, because if he wasn't as good as he was, he'd probably be at the bottom of my list due to the writing of the show. But if Capaldi wasn't as perfect as he was, he would not be number one. But since he is as perfect as number two, since he is as perfect as he is at my number 2 point of the list, and just a brilliant Doctor. Now, you probably all guess who my number 1 is. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. In my opinion, the perfect Doctor is Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor. "You may be a Doctor, but I am the Doctor" is the perfect quote, which, to me, perfectly sums up Tom Baker's Doctor. He's just perfect. He is the Doctor. I don't know what to say. He is the Doctor. He just sums up what the Doctor is for me. It's every good part, the greatest part of every single Doctor just smacked into one for me. And I love him. He's funny, he's charming, and he's just overall perfect. I could, rewatch his era over and over again. Yes, even season 17 and 18, which I've heard a lot of people trash on them, but I could still watch those series and just love them, because Tom Baker is just the perfect Doctor. And he is the Doctor to me, and he will always be the Doctor to me. And I swear to God, if he isn't in the 60th, I'm going to lose my mind. But anyway, that's it for this video. That is my ranking of all the 14 Doctors in Doctor Who. Let me know your ranking in the description below. If I missed anything important or said something stupid that kind of contradicts Doctor Who lore or the blah blah blah, you get my point. Let me know. And I'm sorry if I stuttered a lot. This is my first time actually doing a video like this, so I'm kind of a bit shaky. But that's it. I hope you all have a fantastic day and stay safe.